Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting though to see if the price chart still does something, because people, I mean, it'd be only so sustainable for so long if people were pushing the price chart up. Because I mean, the amount of people that would be in profit in the creation or even the staking side would be just like astronomical, um, if the price chart kept running away. So it would definitely correct. But I mean, I guess it could happen. It's pretty unlikely though.
Well, the obvious thing is if TitanX just starts running, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
you're on the upward oscillation continually. So it's
Yep.
just having that core, and then Ethereum lifting rapidly as it is, and I think it's going to really quickly jump past 4. Yeah, it's just an interesting. Well, I'm just approaching it more from like the dopamine um, reward psychology, because we're ramping into this. I'm already noticing charts everywhere just going straight up, which is a bit manic and hard to follow, and really challenging to trade unless you're experienced with some you know basic stuff, really, EMAs and
Mm-hmm.
all that. But it's still painful to jump in at like a 5x on something. Um, yeah, it's just fascinating because you have to really figure out um, where it's possible to provide that kind of value in terms of perception of value and understanding of value in a system like this, where people are having it's a longer term grind, or yeah, it's just a different reward system. So I'm just always trying to play around with how to create that or incentivize that within this structure, because it obviously is really valuable, and it has a lot of levers if you play it right that are super rewarding. But it's just it's not as enticing. The chart isn't as enticing, and it's harder for people to figure out how they're gonna get in. And of course, the interesting thing is you have the ROIs, and they're insane. People are in. I feel bad for a lot of people who it's their first time around because they don't really get how quickly that can change. Um, but that's at least part of that process. But it's a little bit, um, yeah.
What do you, because you were saying like creating the incentives. What are you thinking when like if you were going to go and create all those incentives that you're referring to, what would you be doing?
Um, I mean, part of it is just doing kind of what you were talking about with explaining the levering based upon an ETH value of X amount and a TitanX value of a certain amount, and then just looking at the moon math of it. So you realize, like, okay, if we're more than likely hitting at least 8K up to 15K Ethereum, that gives you these base case scenarios off of TitanX and then Torus. So that's an obvious and very practical, wise way to approach that. Um, I mean, I think the other way to look at it is, like I was saying last time we talked, is say nobody gets in between now and, or it drops down significantly between now and day, 110 or 120. It's going to be a lot more challenging and hard for people to get in at that point, because their base cost on TitanX is higher and their commitment time is going to be later in the potential cycle that could be ending. So everyone's like, oh, okay, I don't want to go in for another 88, so I pay more. So it's good for the whole ecosystem, but it also leaves an opportunity for people that are staking now, who start their stakes now and run them out through that period, because you're going to be earning all that potentially much higher ROI as everyone drops out of the system. Now, I don't know how high that gets and how much of an impact that has, um, it's not like I've calculated what that could be, but it just seems like a real obvious. So emphasizing those places where people are missing, and then like you're saying, people leaving quickly to go chase another protocol, how all of a sudden, how quickly you could ramp up your ROI and what that could mean to a X amount committed stake or creation. So they could see, oh, wow, within 1 week, I could have like that. What's apparently going to be a, 1,200% could quickly go into 3,000, 5,000, and what that would mean on the base. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Am I making sense? Am I missing something? Because I'm
No, I think like if I'm hearing you correct, it's like you're really talking about how the different moves that people are going to make are going to impact the ROIs, which is going to be able to reel people in and help them understand and participate, more or less.
Yeah, but where those get excessively interesting and rewarding, so it's a little bit, it's a like, where are you going to have those really big plays possibly within the system? And obviously that is some of that stuff you can't reveal because it probably ties into the other protocols coming and things like that. But yeah, just looking at ways to amplify what I've already said, amplify that feeling of like how big the rewards can be out of the system as people shift and lose track. Because the biggest thing I see with all of crypto is watching closely things that are mispriced and undervalued. It's the hardest thing to do because you're lost potentially on the play, and there's so many games and rug pulls and bullshit and things like that. But as soon as something is kind of put away and forgotten because it's whatever the market has chosen to go elsewhere, but the core team is highly valued, you obviously you can have like 3x your money just by being at the right place and right time within a week or two, right? And those kinds of plays are really they're super valuable. So that's that's effectively everybody leaves to chase unity, or everybody's out because they didn't pay attention to the staking ROIs past day 99. Yeah.
And
So,
people are going to
and
really be
that's just,
shocked by this.
yeah, those are just the things that I've tracked. But I was looking for other interesting plays. And the other one obviously is kind of fading out right now, but was to play the middle range of, before day 44, which, who knows how the chart plays out between now and then, but it could be that it's still relatively high compared to the cost to create those midterm stakes.
Yeah, well, even now the supply, the cumulative supply is pushed out now too. We only crack 100,000 by day 58 now, so that's getting pushed out further and further and further and further.
You're sorry, can you say that again?
Oh, I was just saying in terms of like those middle games, like you're right there. There's less and less and less ROI possible now for those shorter medium terms because people are going so long. Like the supply, I think it was around mid 40s. We were almost around 100,000, but now cumulatively, 100,000 happens day 58. That's when we actually have 100,000 tokens come out of the system for the first time in total.
Yeah, got it.